I'm Tiffany from Cards with Tiffany, and this is our first video for our card from the online workshop featuring the Workshop Your Way Mother's Day card making kit. If you haven't got your files yet for this online workshop, make sure you look in the description below on how to get your cutting guides. So we're going to start with our first card, and if you haven't seen it in our last video, here is the card we'll be making. It's a little bit of my twist on one of the cards that Close to My Heart had offered through the card making kit. So let's get started with our stamping and embossing. So we're going to start out, we're going to need a piece of scrap paper. So I'm just going to take my piece of scrap paper and fold it in half. And remember, if you don't want to do the embossing, you don't have to. That is optional. You can just stamp it with your regular inks and just kind of skip this embossing part. So I'm going to grab my first piece of white daisy cardstock. And what we're going to do is we're going to emboss. And we're going to emboss, grab my stamp here. We're going to emboss the Mother's Day. So we're going to start with that first, and I'm going to grab my block, and it's best to lay your stamp upside down and pick it up with your block. So I have that, and we're going to stamp that in our slate. So I have my slate, and I'm going to get everything ready here. So I got my slate ink ready. I'm going to need my Versamark ink, so I have that ready. I'm going to need my clear embossing powder, so I have that ready as well. And I have my heat gun set up to the side. So I'm going to take my little tool here. This is to take away any of the static so that our embossing powder don't stick to anywhere else, whoops, but where we want it to stick on the ink. So I'll just wipe that across there. So next what we're going to do is I'm going to slide this down so that you can see. We're going to stamp our ink first in the Versamark. So that's how we're going to get the ink to stick, is in that Versamark. But we're using clear, and we can't put down this because there's no color. We're going to stamp it next into our ink pad. Now this won't hurt it. And if you're not sure, about this way, you can also use the pigment. And then we're going to stamp it on our sheet down slightly from the top. And push down on that really well. I'm just going to slide these off the sheet here and peel that off. And then that's going to be sticky because the Versamark was done on top. So then all I'm going to do is sprinkle that on like so. And kind of just tap that off. Now you can really see the powder on there, but it's there. So I'm just going to put this to the side because we're also got a stamp on there as well. From your favorite child. So take that one, set it down, grab another block, pick it up, and this time we're going to use the Blossom ink. So I have my Blossom ink off to the side here. Once again, step in my Versamark. Because when you put it down, the color ink is going to be on the bottom, and the Versamark is going to be on the top. And I'm going to stamp that directly underneath of it. Just like that. And I'm going to pick it up and put my powder on it like that and dump it off. So there. We have it like that. Now, if you just want to do the words, we can stop there and emboss just that, but I want to emboss the whole entire top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up this little image here. It's like the three little like you put at the end of the words, and I'm going to pick that up, and same thing into our Versamark, and we're going to do that in the slate, so into the slate, and I'm going to do it on each of the side of the word day. So I stamp that down. And you can see the difference. Now once the ink melts, it will be a little bit more bold in the color. Right now it's kind of faint. Now I want to do it on the other side of the word day. But right now I have the slate on it. If I put it back in, what's going to happen? Our slate's going to be in that We don't want that. So that's why we need our cleaning. So all I'm going to do, give this a little spray off to the side, and then I'm just going to wipe it on my pad. Clean it off, and then we're ready to go again. So back into our Versamark, into our slate, and then back down. Now if you're using those pigment inks, you wouldn't have to do all the steps into the pigment inks and then down, and you don't have to clean off your stamp. And then all I'm going to do is pour some ink over that, and you could probably wait to the end to do it. I just like to do it as I go, then I know for sure. And last but not least, we're going to put the swoopy banner, I call it, along the top. So I'm just going to remove this and pick this up like so into the Versamark, and this time we're going to do in the blossom. So pick it up, and and it should fit right across the top. You want to kind of go off the ends a little like that. And I'm trying, not when I pick it up, not to touch where any of the embossing powder is. Sprinkle that on. There we go. Now I'm going to set that to the side, and then all I'm going to do is just kind of put things to the side so that we don't get nothing messed up here. So I'm going to put my ink pads away, because we are done with our ink pads. And then see where I folded that paper, all I can do, tilt it to the middle, and then it just pours back into there very nicely and nothing wasted. Cover back on that. Now we have to do is emboss this. So I'm going to take my tweezers, and my fingers aren't so close to it. So I have that. I'm going to turn on my heat gun. I'm just going to let that heat up for a second before I go and put it to the piece of paper. So here I go. I'm going to start in the corner. You don't have to move it around, like flick it up and down. Just slightly go from one side to the other. I don't know if you can see that turning. And to help it from deforming, I also like to take it from the back as well. You can start to see that there, it's starting to, the powder is melting. So I come back to the front, and this just helps it from deforming a lot. And if this is your first time using it, don't be scared of it. It's very simple. Trying to get the corner up there. And you can definitely see where it has melted and not. So I know it's going to move over here a little, just so I get that top corner to melt. There we are. Now you don't want to touch it right away, because where it has melted, it does need to dry. But you can see when you put it to the light, it's going to shine. And it's a little deformed, but that's okay. Where we did it from the back and the front, that will help a lot. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start building our card. So we're just going to put that to the side. So we're going to take our card base, and that comes in the kit. We're going to need our bone folder, and we're going to go, and where this bump is here, see how that's bumped out? Where this one's going down, this one's bumped out, we're going to fold it so that the bump's on the inside. And I just like to take my bone folder and just give it that real nice finishing crease. So there we are. So first we're going to take our piece of pink with the diamonds on it, and we're going to glue it just in the middle like that. So you can use any adhesive that you find best. I'm going to use my big glue gun. And I like to put my adhesive on all 4 sides. And I pick that up and just line it up with the top. And I like to line it up with the top because you can see that it's off the edges a little bit. So we just grab our handy dandy scissors, flip it over, and we'll just trim off the bottom. There we are. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to take our 2 smaller pieces of the gray that has the diamonds, and we're going to do a diagonal cut. And all that means is we're just going to diagonally cut off, then like that. And we're going to do it to both ends. Doesn't have to be perfect, but that's all we're doing. So just watch again. I'm just going to take it, going to start here and just aim for the top corner, and then flip it around and aim for the top corner. It just gives it a less plainer look on our card. So next what we're going to do is we're going to bring in this so that we can kind of line up where these gray pieces are going to go. One's at the top and one's at the bottom. And I'm also going to bring in my raspberry piece that goes off the bottom like that, just so that I have an idea. And I'm just going to use some liquid glue just where there's smaller pieces. Just put a little bit of liquid glue if it comes out. Maybe, maybe not. Of course it doesn't because I'm on film. Let's try, come on. Okay, had to run and get a new glue, so just a little bit like that. And line this back up to where I want it. And I'm just going to slide that under there, just so that a little bit is sticking out. And then same with the bottom, once I line up where the pink or the raspberry is going to go, just a little bit on the bottom. And just best if I flip it around here and just slide that underneath. And there we go. Push those down. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to take our white twine that's part of the kit, and we're going to wrap that. I'm going to put that in the front. I like to leave a little bit. We're going to tie a knot. So all I'm going to do is wrap it around once. And wrap it around again where it crosses in the back. Like so. And now I'm just going to tie a knot on it, the front of the card, or the front of the paper I should say. And yes, you know, I struggle with it, and that's the point of the videos. It's to show you, you know, not perfect. And if I take a few minutes, then you can take a few minutes to do it. You want to make sure you pull it tight, not too tight that the paper is going to fold up like that, but tight enough that it won't go nowhere. I hope you guys can still see me trying to play around like that. It's perfect. So now I just take my scissors. Now I'm just going to cut off the end. And this is also a good way not to waste as much by keeping it on like that as well. So now all I'm going to do is take the end and I'm just going to pull the twine apart. Pull each of those sliders apart. Just look, I think it looks nicer instead of just sitting there. So just pull those apart like that. And then take my liquid glue. You could use any adhesive, just a little bit on the bottom there. And I'm going to stick that just on the bottom of that. Okay, flip that over. And now for our 3D foam tape. So I'm just going to cut off some little squares, put one in each corner of the card, and of course one in the middle. Don't want the card to sag. And I'm going to put it right over the foam tape. It's going to help keep, or the twine, it's going to help keep that. I'm going to just do one more there. It just help keeps that in place as well. Peel the backings off of that. One last one. And now we're going to bring our card back in, and we're going to line it up to where we had our little green or gray pieces. So just like so. So all we have left to do is our journaling. So we're going to grab our journaling pen. And these lines are not supposed to be straight whatsoever. So I'm just going to start up in the top corner and just come out just like that. Flip it around, and I'm just going to draw straight down. Now they're not straight. It just makes it build like there's another layer there. So same here. I'm going to go in and down along the edge, and then across the top a little. So there. And last but not least, we're going to take our gray or our silver, and we're going to add some of these little dots. So I'm going to take one of the big dots, and I'm kind of going to put it under the from, kind of more so on the raspberry. Lightly press on that. Another big one up by the Y, and then a smaller one kind of up on the pink. There we go. And we have our first card finished. Happy Mother's Day from your favorite child. And we got the nice embossed. I don't know if you can see when it hits the sun there, you can see it. So our next card, I'll give you a sneak peek of our next video card, and that one is going to look like this. This is the same one that Close to My Heart has put together. Once again, I just put my little twist in again, the embossing. So we'll see you on our next video. Happy card making.